It's like somebody in their house. It's not a commentator. Oh no, they're Pakistani one. Oh my god, I love it. In my house, it's amazing. It's got the best perspective. Give Jeremy a bit.
Like it's probably going to be worse. Oh yeah. No, that's not right. Huh?
Let's give it a whisk around.
Which one? We're down there.
The camera, to take the photo.
Yeah, took some in. Try and get some stand next to him, though, if you can. Should we put that in there? Do 2 or 3, yeah? That's a good one to hold that one. Hold one of them, you did, isn't it? We're just going to fast food. We're going for a point after that side, buddy. We'll go over there. We're going to walk past different line. Come on.
Can you send that to me on email?
Interesting character.
It's obvious an obvious mistake. Ah, no, that's the big $1 million question. What do you think?
Jeremy Corbyn coming in?
I'm going to switch the camera off for a minute because the battery's getting low.
Is that Jeremy Corbyn? He is, I've seen him. That's Sector, isn't it?
Can I just very briefly introduce a man who needs no introduction? I've known John Prescott for 25 years. John, like me, comes from a trade union background. We've all worked with people all our life. John was a distinguished member of the government who from 1997 to 2010 transformed this country and transformed this constituency. Walk-in centres, nurseries, all the things that matter to the world. Now, there's no stronger champion of working people than is John Prescott. He's been an inspirational figure for the generation. He is deeply welcome here to Erdington. So a big, warm welcome to John Prescott.
Well, you can do that again if you want. I'm delighted to be in Erdington. You know, when you're on the bus, you don't know where you are. I got to Bolton, I said, I'm glad to be in Bury. They said, it's Bolton. And sometimes you forget where you are. But we're on the same road with the same message, and I'm delighted to be with the comrade who for many years we're both union leaders, we're both negotiators. Sometimes we've been on opposite sides, I'll tell you, in those negotiations in our industrial life. But he's a man of the people, he knows what it's about, and that's what should be representing Labour. So I'm delighted to be here with Jack today. And it reminds us we are a union and a political movement that comes together called the Labour Party. And don't let's ever forget us, because that's our strength. Now, so I'm delighted to be here. And you know, things are changing, aren't they? Bloody hell, there's an election on it. They're changing, aren't they? And it's not just the polls, it's the people, aren't they? One of the things that has made a difference is this manifesto, isn't it? Turn that one upside down means it's distress. So this manifesto, Jack, this is one of the most, we fought in many elections, but I've never fought with an election where we're fully costed, talking about the values that people represent, right? And this is going to be an important document. You know, the last time they actually produced a document like this was in 1945, when we changed and civilized this last century. So therefore, this is a very important document. So, like Jeremy, he couldn't come today, so they sent the older man instead. But he's out campaigning. Jack, here's the manifesto about the tradition to give you. That's the one that's going to count, right? Now, I just want to take you back a bit. I was here a few years ago, right? I was here many years ago. It's called Sutton Coldfield. Is there a park here called Sutton Coldfield? Come on, say yes or no. I'm making you back. And you know, were you in the Cubs? I was a Cub. How old are you? Well, that was exactly my age, just before I failed the 11 plus, and it's affected me. Basically, you're coming up to 11. At Sutton Coldfield, all the Cubs used to go for their annual outing there, camping in Sutton Coldfield. And you know, I was showing up, I had the frog badge. Have you got the frog badge? The swimming one? Oh, well, I had the frog badge. And I was the only one who could swim. And all the others were in the paddling pool, because there's a number of pools there, if I remember going back. I'm talking a long time here, aren't we? And I went to show off and dive into the pool. The pool was 6 inches. And do the deep dive. The person who saved me was the teacher. Just reminds us, all of us who remember our teachers, what they do for our society. And they're the ones that are being treated so abominably by these people. And I'm here today because a teacher said that. And a teacher also said to me, would you like to go to the Lake District? I said, what do I want to go blooming chomping over fields for? I went, reluctantly, but it was the best thing that ever happened in my life to represent and go and have a look at the Lake District, the beauty of it. forever in my mind. So when I was a Deputy Prime Minister, I went and opened the old youth hostel in Botherdale. And you know, it just reminds us, when we talk about education, it's not talking about the kids in the classroom, is it? It's talking about the quality of our life. And that's one of the areas they totally ignore when they say we're going to take the money off the state education system and put it into private 11 plus. There's no value in them. Therefore, the few, not the many. Well, nearly. Not for the few, not for many. All right. Basically, I just want to take you back when I came here many years ago in Battlebush at the time, right? And you remember in 1997, we had inherited 18 years of a Tory government. What happened? We had pensioners in poverty, the schools were run down, we had mass unemployment, they were breaking up the health service. In 18 years, these beggars have done it in 6, exactly the same. And what we said when they did that, because when you're talking, it's about delivery, the leopard don't change its spots, it's the tame Tories thinking of the few but never the many. And basically now what we've got to do is get that message across. Did you see the debate last night? Yes. Oh, did she roll her eyes and say, trust me? Did you see it? Who won it? Yes, we did. Labour was to the fore of it, and they're on the run. They're lying in the press now, they're doing anything. Abuse after abuse after abuse. So basically, not new. We've been through it before. And you remember when I came here, you remember, I was like, you know, technology, selfies and loudspeakers. Go on, watch this. But you know, what's different? Things can get better, and that's what we're offering to do, what we've always done, to take it out of the Tory mess that is always for the few and not the many. Now, when I came here, I'm going to test your memories again. Do you remember this? Yeah. Coming round with me pledge card, and you knocked on the door, we said, we'll change it, Labour will change it, and we came in, and I want to just remind you what was on this card. Because if we're talking about delivery, can we say we did it before, after the last Tory mess that we inherited?
But you forgot one thing, didn't you?
Pardon?
It's the Lord that delivers us.
Okay then, now enough about Jeremy, but look, if you're talking about... if you say, I'll get Jack going again about that, but look, it said on here, we cut class sizes to 30. Did we do that? Yes. Oh, come on, it's an election. Did we do that? Yes. And what's happening now? Class sizes are now up to 36. 500,000 of our kids are in class sizes too big for the best education. The teachers are leaving. The quality of education is going down, and the teachers find the government take money now from the state sector, and you're going to ask for a collection when you're outside the school gate so we can pay for the blooming kids to have books and things. Now that's what they've done to our education. I'll give you another one to show you, I'm being honest. Cut the NHS list down to 18 weeks. Did we do that? Yeah. And what is it now? 10 months. You can read it saying 10 months, and no guarantee it's stopping at 10 months. So all the time, they're always cutting public services, right? And in this case, we delivered. And did you see it on the telly last night? Oh, blimey, where did they get them from? She's pure casting, isn't she? And you know what? When she puts that face on, I've got to admit, when I used to do the Labour Party conferences, I always look for a standing ovation. I'm going to get one today, aren't I? You know, you practice in front of the mirror. My wife used to go and bat me. Yeah, get them up. When she was doing that, did you see the eyes? And the face. There's no warmth, no commitment, no experiments, no blooming experience of what life is about. So to that extent, this is one of the main factors in this election. Now, are you voting Labour? Oh, we brought it down. How old are you? Hey? Have we got it for 7, Jack? Are we going to do it for 16? So, we brought it on the manifesto. I tell you what, when I read that there was a leak on the Labour's manifesto. I read it in The Guardian like all us intellectuals do, didn't I? I wanted to say, I thought, I hope it's going to be like that, but I don't believe it. I've been in 11 elections now, and I've never been in a fully costed Labour manifesto that reflected the values we had in 47 as it does now. Let me give you one example. How many can remember the 1945 election manifesto? Can you, Jack?
Not even me.
But I got a copy of it. And you know what it had on the front of it? A rising sun. What do you say, love?
I said we know what we got from the 45 election. We got the National Health.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. Come here, love, you're better than me at saying this. But you know that National Health Service, if the Labour Party never did anything else in its life to establish the health service meeting the needs of our people based upon your need and not your ability to pay, there'll never ever be anything greater than what we did in that period, and it's still relevant today. I can remember my mother, I lived in Rotherham, my father was a railwayman at the time, and the doctor used to come and he was at £0.50 to inspect you if you had a cold or something, and Murray's wondered and they scrambled around to get there. Later on, my brother had a cleft palate and a cleft palate, the terrible fixture of the face, cleft palate. Hairlip and cleft palate, right? Now anybody who knows that, you've got to be operated on from year 1 to 21 years. Why? Because the mouth shapes, the tooth change, and you have to have the operations. I've got a young lad, my brother, for 20 odd years, obviously operated on all the time. But now he's free from that. He got the best in the world of surgeons to help him through this process to rid of this terrible disfigurement. And you know, when I was a waiter on the ship, before I got the job I don't have to work for, you know what I mean? But as a waiter, I had a millionaire on my table, an American, and he had a son of 10 with that terrible disfigurement. And I said to him, why didn't you have the operation? And he said, I couldn't afford it. And that's what an insurance system is. They don't check what's the matter with your mouth or disfigurement. They want to know what insurance policy you've got before we actually do any operations or work. So, and that's what they're working to. They're working to privatise our health system, pass it over to the insurance system. So that's a big threat in this election about something we established decades ago, but still relevant today. Now, have you got new medical centres here, Jack?
Yes, we have.
We've got new medical schools, and it was built not by a government, by a Labour government. People walk around as if somehow they just do it. No, they don't. Tories don't do it, as you've seen Labour do. We invest in our public services, right? And when I go there, I'm a diabetic, you know. I suffer from the 11 plus. You can see I'm under a kind of pressure. But I stand outside that new health centre in Hull, and I watch to see, because people live longer now. They live longer because our health service allowed them to work longer. And when they go in there, they've got a problem with the knee. I can tell you now at 80 odd, I'm the same. You know, the knee, the leg, the heart, things, right? And they walk to that centre with usually on a stick. But isn't it wonderful to think they don't have to ask themselves, can I afford to go to that health centre? I go there because I'm in need. I don't therefore have to pay for it. And therefore, to that extent, we did nothing else. And this election is about public services. It's not only just about health, it's about education. And pensioners, for God's sake. Do you remember that election, Jad? We had the triple whammy, the Tories had. Remember? About taxing people to pay for service. Called triple whammy. Tell the pensioners about the triple whammy. Who would have thought for a second they not only take the heat allowance away from them, they get rid of the triple lot, and now they're after the house. That's a triple whammy on people who've worked their lives to create what we have today, and then almost blame the youngsters to say, we can't give you that now because it will deny it to the local functions. And then they say it's a shortage of money, and if we can get the economy. Well, did you see they introduced the money tree? Has anybody got a money tree in their garden?
Yeah, it's in
Oh, you've got one.
It's over in Palomar's money tree.
Oh, they are, that's it, yeah.
Money tree.
Anybody else got a head? Well, I'm not it, but look, if you look there, the money tree, it was that Amanda Wood or whatever her name was, isn't it? Hodge or something. Home Secretary or something. Amanda Hodge. she's put on now as the substitute. Bloody hell, she looks as hard as the other one does. The two of them the same. They sneer away what they say. They don't want to ask whether they've been to a food bank and see what a nurse might have to look for on top of her wages. But when you look at that argument now of the woman who's putting about a money tree, I'll tell you, I never ever thought there'd be two sides to a money tree. If there is a money tree, there's the side for the many and there's the side for the few. Now this week we heard that millionaires are putting millions of pounds into the Tory party. Which side of the tree do you think they're looking for? The money side, right? The one that deals with a few. But what's terrible, the few that get it are paid by the money tree on for the many. They take away from the money services. They put it into corporation taxes, reduction. They go into tax. The millionaires become more millionaires. The poor become poorer. What's new? She couldn't have signified better talking about a money tree. So in this election, it is about delivery. It is also about the manifesto. And you know, I'm proud to go around, people come up and talk to me about the manifesto. Now you'd have thought, well, we're not relying on the press, I'm not a friend of the press, are we, Jack? We've had to go time and time again, right? I'm not so much the local, but the nationals are owned by these people, the journalists do as they're really well told by. And if you had any doubt about that, have you ever known journalists actually get put in a room when she's out speaking and told you can have one question if you agree amongst yourselves and I'll let you know whether you can ask her or not, right? This is a woman who fixes the journalist. Now why is it then, do you remember when Miliband suggested we cut our electric prices? They called it a Marxist labour. And then when she talked about national insurance and the proper balancing, they called it a death tax. The Mail, the Telegraph, all them, that running on. Front page, Labour, Marxist death. When she did it, what did they say? They looked the other way, they never said anything. How is it, what is a Marxist takeover becomes for her the right of the people, right? And that's the press. And I'm not on about the press because I don't love them. But if you look, this is for the many, right? What we talk about the few. This is for the few paid by the many. Has anybody seen this before? This is a Tory manifesto. There is one quote in detail. Let me just read it for you. It's under free media. And it says, given the comprehensive nature of the first stage of the Leveson inquiry. You remember why we had the Leveson inquiry? Do you remember that Mr. Jeffries down in Bristol being told and put on the front page of the Sun and all of them that he was the one that murdered that girl? Absolute lies. Destroyed his life. Yes, he got compensation. But what's that when you've been accused in the national press? Do you remember that lady with the daughter because the Sun provided another mobile and let the lady think her daughter was still alive? All those were terrible. All those were found not to be accountable press. So we set up the Royal Charter. Now Jack and I were involved in the Royal Charter business, right? So now I didn't agree with it going to a Royal Charter. If Parliament's Parliament, pass it. You don't have to have the Queen give us the Royal Charter. We're parliamentarians. And you know, I resigned as a Privy Councillor. I'm not entitled to be called Right Honourable now. And I said, I'm going to get involved in the Queen, I'm resigning. I'm the only man who's resigned from the Privy Council who's not been to jail. And you know, they had to have a debate amongst them with the Queen as whether Prescott could resign. It took a month to decide whether I could resign. So you can't call me right honourable, and I can't go in the Privy now to be actually given any advice. That's now all gone, basically. So they paid the price. The press know they're getting their bonus. That's why millions are pouring into them. They're not going to be accountable. They're going to be free to do whatever they want. And that was one great threat to democracy, whatever they say. They keep their mouths shut for the Tories, and they abuse our leader in the Labour Party day after day with lie after lie. So don't expect me to respect that. Now, if we've got the delivery, if we've got the values right, the other one is trust the leadership. You know, trust me, I can't tell you what I've got to do, but just trust me. I'm a lady and I will do it, and I'm a really tough negotiator. Tough negotiator. I can't talk about negotiation. If I'm a tough negotiator, as he says he is, well, if she's going to negotiate with 27 European leaders, she won't even face 7 political leaders here in the debate. and then says I'm going to negotiate with 27 in Europe. That's not negotiation. Trust me, trust me. And she rolls those eyes. And she's obviously practicing. You saw her last night on the television, you know. But she couldn't stop that kid saying to her, you know, I'm a nurse. And I've got the same wages as 5 years. And if she wants to buy a house anywhere near the hospital, she can't because she can't afford it. If she wants the extra food, she goes down to the food store. Is that what this country is now reduced to? One of the richest countries in the world? So I say to this woman, trust her, just look at her record. When we came in, we had to pass legislation. She said, I'm not having another election until 2020. Look, it didn't take long to change that, did she? That was a big, big U-turn. Has anybody heard of the hooly-gooly bird? It's a northern bird, it flies back. An hooly-gooly bird is a bird that flies in ever-decreasing circles until it disappears, is where you can think if you think about it, right? She's done more changes. She said she wants to remain in Europe, and that's where our future lies. By God, within a few months she's leading the attack again on to leave the European Union. She said she was against minimum wages. Jack, remember the battles we had about minimum wages? When the Tories told us it'll cost you millions in jobs. We got millions back to work and we gave them the minimum wage, and now she wants to claim it's what she stands for, what she believes in. She does normally U-turns, she's got busy, there's no doubt about it. So you've got a choice. You could look at her and say, trust me. Won't tell her what she's going to do. Why won't she debate what we're supposed to? In elections are about debates, you know, that you discuss and then you listen, you make a decision. No, she's not doing that either. So I ask you to look at that. And then you ask and look at the Labour leader. I have never known a Labour, and I've been in many elections, right, had so much abuse as this man's had from the press. And it is changing. It is changing. Of course he said some things that get easy for the press to print some years ago. But what you want is somebody who actually believes what he says and sticks by it and explains why. Of course it's different from being a backbencher than being the leader of the party. Of course it's that. But the people look to politicians now and say, can I believe them? With all my reservations. That man is showing integrity and has helped to get Labour to this part where we were on money 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? So we believe you want to trust the man. The people's choice, it was the party's people's choice. Some of our people that wondered about it, but I'll move on quickly. But if you actually say that, so on leadership, on the delivery, and the values, we're in there. Now the one thing, now I want one of you youngsters to help me. Who's going to be one of mine? Right, now you're going to be an actor. When you grow up, that Daft Prescott came along and got me involved, right? And he's an ex-cop. You know the future's about these lads and these girls. That's where it lies when we're fighting now. Whether it's the climate change, or whether it's the economy, or whether it's the kind of society we live in, it's all these that will benefit. And I hope we get it right so they can benefit. And this is an election. Nobody ever told me, as they used to say, there's no difference between them. Oh, they don't argue that anymore. But you know what really brought you down to it? How many? Have you got a cat or a dog? Have you got a cat or a dog? You got a what? A kitten. Oh, you've got a lovely kitten. How many have got cats and dogs? Now what I want to say, we're an animal-loving people, right? We are people, in fact, it's about the human relations with an animal. Of course they're not humans. But don't they give pleasure? Don't they show loyalty? Don't they, when they go, you know what you're missing, don't you? I know in my family we had a basset dog, you know, same thing. But you know, the real thing is, what does she do? With all the problems we've got in the world, what does she want to think is a high priority, right? Have you got a hunt here in Erdington? You're all going to have a hunt. You've got to get a red jacket, sit on your horse, have a blooming dress, what do they call it, the stirrup cup, is it? Drink the stirrup cup, and they say, we're off to do it. To do what? To kill what? Where's the gun? Oh, I thought they were going to run off, Jack. Do you really want to kill that? Eh? Do you want to kill that? Do you love it? You know, I took it to my grandson last week and I said I'm on a campaign with this. He hid it. I had to go around the house looking. He didn't want me to take it away with him. They looked at that face, right? Now, it's not that if you think this is vermin, then you can have a judgment about it, right? And you can kill it if you think that's the case. But do you really want dogs to come along and tear it apart bit by bit, bit by bit? And they say that's pleasure for a Sunday afternoon, sitting on your horse, drinking the stirrup cup, right? Do you think that's right? Would you do it? Do you think you want to keep the fox? So whatever we campaign for, and I've taught you, whether it's the education, it's the health, the values of our society, the community in which we live, where the community works for the community, that's the heart of what Labour's about. We also say we love the pleasures that come from our animals. We are associated. So I say, this is a woman, she don't want support. So, are we going to win here in Erdington? Sorry, are we going to win here and put Jack back in? And we deserve to, and then we're on the march, aren't we? We've made changes. We have made changes. It's not the same. I've been in lots of elections. There's enthusiasm. When you go down with the bus, they actually wave. And they pat the horns on the cars. Now that's about people wanting to say, get on with it, you've got the man. It's our turn. Return this man. We need him in Parliament. So good luck in him. And we're going to win. Yeah! Okay then, I don't know where we're going now.
We're going down the high street now.
I know where you're going. You're going to go and knock on this door and say, have you heard it? Get out and vote Labour. You cannot be missing from this election. You cannot say there's no difference. The difference is when you knock on the door, you show a pride in Labour, you tell Jack, you tell the values, and let's have another Labour victory. I want to walk in that place. I know I'm in the Lords, they're not in the place, you know, but I want to walk in that place and say, Labour's got it again. Good luck with it. Thanks very much. Oh, by the way, anybody want to do, you know, things about selfies now, and you know what I found when I was going with a comedian, some on television, I can't remember his name was, and we were doing a round, and all the young girls come up to him. And I'm standing there, and I said, well, I've never worked with a celebrity before. And then some of the other people come up and say to him, can I have your photo, because my mum and dad love you. Well, that's the generation difference. If you want to do any quick selfies, do them here by the bus and get on the John's that way. Come from the left to the right, that's what we do.
Oh, well, it's on film, it's filming.
All right, you just go along with it.
On standby?
No, you do it.
I used to go. Or you can just film, you go on film. It's on record. It's on record.
Yeah, it's on record. Yeah, go on.
I thought it was very good. Very good. Very good. John was always theatre Parkinson horses, as they would say in Very good. We are. We're going to have open Land Rover.
These are what the future's about. Okay. You got the camera. Line up the camera. Okay, next one, quickly.
Be sure to do a job.
Right. Okay, get your camera ready so it's all quickly done. Who's got the camera? Right, which one's the camera for this? Right, okay. You got it? Get you back out that camera. Point it towards me. Okay, good. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Shake him in his hand. You shake his hand. Come on. Come on, quick. And you got shake his hand. I tell you what's great. You really want to just don't worry.
Leave me alone.
Shake his hand.